Okay, I assume we might actually already be live. Okay, we are live. Awesome, it worked. Welcome everyone to our first discussion of the Sunday service. I am very happy to be here. With me are Laurentiu.
Okay,
Oh my God. Okay, guys, one quick. Okay, I just heard myself. Okay, just to start this off, we're having quite a number of technical issues coming up that we are working through. And as with every kind of new project, like things are just coming up and we're working through it. So we apologize for starting this too late today and, sorting ourselves out. But we're here now and we will keep this today at about 40 minutes. It usually will be 1 hour, but since we started late today, it'll be 40 minutes. So with me today, we have Soraya, Michaela, and Laurentiu here. My name is Denisa. We're all Ascension coaches with Twin Flames Universe, and it is our honor and pleasure to be here and discuss yesterday's Sunday service with all of you. And there was a richness of information and new insights yesterday. When I first watched it, I had to really take it in and process, and then I rewatched it today. And that's when I actually really understood more, and I probably have to watch it a third time. That's kind of what I feel, because there was so much in 30 minutes of Jeff and Shia talking, so much information and insights into so many things. And especially how if I had to put it under name a theme that they talked about, it would be how were we created? And what they were talking a lot about was that we were created as a divine masculine and a divine feminine. And kind of to start this off, I think I would like to do a round and everyone kind of sharing what is the one thing that stuck with them the most. And to start off, for me, it was when they said that, how Jeff explained whether when he says God, he refers to his father as one, and his father as his father and mother at this duality, but it's the same thing. And when they said how you and your twin flame have one consciousness, or God is just one consciousness, but expressed in a dual way. That's what really stuck me, how with your twin flame you have one consciousness, and you express that in a dual way through divine masculine and divine feminine. And I was just I don't know, my heart was just that makes so much sense. And it was kind of this gap in my brain between fully understanding how this one consciousness with your twin flame and being masculine and feminine work, it feels that gap got closed or filled with the right information. And now I'm kind of oh, I see the world, this is how everything is created to be. So that was for me the thing that stuck the most.
Yeah, I would like to go next then.
Yeah, go for it.
For me, the thing that got stuck the most is when they spoke about divorce, that's not something normal, that we're not created to have divorce because we're created as one. And how they were saying about that passage, what Moses said and when Jesus said that, it's that you are created as one from the beginning. You are already married with your twin flame from the beginning, and there's no need to come in union with anyone else because you cannot do that. That's impossible. And right now, as we're working through this illusion that actually you can be with someone else that is not your twin flame, and this is something that I really appreciate, seeing that actually, yes, we have our twin flame, and that's the ultimate lover, and that's the person that we desire. That's the, for me, it's my divine feminine. For others, can be their divine masculine, and it's so nice seeing how they complement each other because they were created together, and just remembering that. And I really enjoy that. And I cannot wait to just see this world without needing a divorce, without needing all of these things that just useless in a way. But for now, seeing that by following this teaching, we can really just have the pleasure of enjoying our life with who we really designed to, not with who we think so. And we don't have to force a relationship, because a twin flame relationship is not a forced one, and that's something even juicier here that I enjoyed about is that this relationship, it's already made to be perfect. It's nothing there to just try to make it. It's already working. You just have to allow it to work. It's just allowing God to come through you there.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next? Soraya, Michaela?
I can. Yeah, I agree with what you said, Denisa, about like talking about the duality and how everything comes together as one and how it's all perfect. And I loved how they went, a little bit more into the masculine and the feminine and how they partner together, and how like together, even though they're two different expressions, they come together and the partnership is so perfect and it fits together just like exactly. And it was just like a really, really amazing reminder of how like God really does create everything perfect. And even when things appear to be different, they move together and sync and in harmony as one. And yeah, it's like this concept of twin flames, you're looking at two different people. And it's just such a good example of that, of how, even though it looks different, it's the same, and it is a fuller expression of, God and what God wants to express through the whole. And so, yeah, I really liked that. I liked how they explained it and brought all of that together.
On that note, I love how they like say, like, when you're with your twin flame, you become like this super being. That was like so nice and like so true. And like on just quickly, before we move on to Michaela, on that note of like duality, what I think I just like it also made me realize is that, because I think like when we're all like working on healing every part of us that is in separation and bringing union to everything. And for me, I think a part of me thought that duality is something bad, that it means like separation, that like two things are separate from each other. And like seeing duality in this new light of it's okay for union, like one consciousness to be expressed in a dualistic way, that is not something bad or something that means separation. That is very healing for me, because a lot of like spiritual teachers also talk about like how we have to overcome duality in this world and everything, but that's not really it. And that also when we talk about like bringing heaven to earth, that's also the same thing, not seeing heaven and earth as two separate things, but like bring heaven to earth. And like it's okay that like we are spiritual beings and material beings, because that's like a duality too, but it's okay to express ourselves in that way. So yeah,
so true.
So Michaela, what was the one thing that stuck with you the most?
Well, there were actually two things that stuck out to me, and one of them was going off the divine masculine and feminine thing. Again, I liked how they said that to get to Mother God, you have to go through Father God. And like they kind of expanded upon the post that they'd made about, that Jeff had made about addressing he first out of respect for the feminine. And it just really, like growing up, I was used to be so offended by stuff like that because I was, like a feminist. But when they posted that and then expanded upon it in the service, like it really just helped me like value myself as like a feminine energy, and like really like love myself there. And it really was healing. And I also really liked how they said if your heart is not pure, you'll attract partners that aren't like for you. You'll attract like based on karma or just like false beliefs that you have about yourself, that you'll attract the wrong partners. And that's also another reason why they made divorce, why Moses gave people the option to divorce, is because they were with the wrong partners. And you don't have to honor like a marriage that's not based in the divine. And it just helped me really like commit to like purifying myself and my consciousness, and just like even deeper, and just really committing to attracting my perfect partner in my twin flame and nothing else.
That passage about Moses, because it's like interesting, because the way you understood it was like they weren't with the right partner, and that's why Moses like gave them, like was compassionate with them and gave them divorce. The way I understood it when Shalia was talking about it was that they actually were with their twin flame, what were choosing separation in their heart, And that's why Moses was compassionate with them and saying, like, you know, like, you're actually not able right now to be with your twin flame. So it's most compassionate for you right now to divorce. But that divorce isn't real.
Right. Well, I understood it both ways, like, because I did like have it that thought too, and then I thought about like people, because I thought about it both ways. But I mean, either way, it's God's compassion, definitely. Yeah. And I also really loved the Rumi poem. It was so beautiful. It like gave me chills and so romantic. And I loved because Jeff got really emotional about it, and he said that it was clear that Rumi was talking about God, and that just kind of like melted my heart. That it was so passionate, and it was just about God. It wasn't about any specific person. I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really nice, and I really enjoyed that when it really was about seeing that God is your ultimate lover, and how he can really, like, you don't need anyone else than God, and your twin flame will reflect that relationship that you have with God. And I really liked when Jeff and Shreya said about, like, let's say for me, I'm not my man, I'm my woman's man.
My heart melted when he said that. I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I choose to be my twin flame's woman, and I let him be my man. And I was just like, this feels so good.
Yeah, that was very, very sweet.
It's this really deep and intimate partnership, you know, and it's this, it's so sacred, and it's so it's divine. And yeah, it's kind of like, for me, as I was listening to that, and especially with the Rumi poem, and just feeling into this like really deep unconditional love and devotion and intimacy with God, it was kind of like it just opened up my heart even more to my own union, and just realizing that, you know, it's safe to have that kind of devotion, and it's safe to feel that kind of dependency on God, and to receive and experience that kind of intimacy with God. And it's like the way that it's spoken about in that poem, it was just so precious, and it was so like it was so reverent. And that's something that we all have, and we have to enjoy in our own unions, and it's just a really precious thing. And it felt really good to honor that for what it is, and to really display it that way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed when they spoke about that, because me and Alexandra, we were watching, and we were like, we were saying to each other, like I was saying, like, I'm your man, and she was saying that she's my woman, and we were just committing even deeper to each other, and that was so beautiful. And it really opened our hearts even more, and even the poem. And to be honest, the poem, the second time that I listened to it, I received it even more. And I know it's really nice to watch the sermons, the Sunday service with Alexandra, both watching it and actually both receiving that. So yeah, recommend.
Another thing that just came up is the talk about the rib, like women coming from the rib of God. Oh, that was just beautiful. That was just like, I like that Jeff said, like, connect to that feeling that you have when it comes to your ribs, and like your ribs are so intimate and like so sweet. And yeah, I just really loved that, because that part never quite made sense in the Bible to me. I didn't get where that came from, or like what that was supposed to mean. So it's really cool to have Jeff and Shalia dissecting all of these Bible verses and like sharing the truth there with us. I thought that was really awesome.
I love that part too. I remember, where I was listening, I remember that. So I read that part in, like, we studied that while I was in high school. Like, this was, I don't know, years ago. I remember when I first read that, I got like really triggered by that, by like, you know, how can you say that like man was created first and woman was just made out of his rib? Like, that's like so condescending, and like, you know, like woman isn't just a piece of rib and a piece of flesh.
Oh no. I used to be really upset about that too.
Yeah, I was always like that is not okay, you cannot say this. And yeah, I was really like kind of like being like revolted by it. But then like when I, you know, like the way Jeff and Shalia explained it, it's like, you know, it's like this really precious part inside of you, and that's like it's like divine feminine in like your union, and they're like masculine and feminine are not separate. So, you know, let's say, even because I think, you know, they address the question of like who was created first, but so like, you know, in the end it doesn't even matter. So let's say, you know, man really was created first, and then like woman is kind of like, at this point I'm like, you know, that was like, it doesn't even like matter because you're like one. So, you know, like why be triggered by that when like no one is like, no, like none of these like qualities, and that was so beautiful too when they said like divine masculine feminine qualities, like none of these qualities, because the qualities of God are like, one isn't better than the other, because that would be saying that like one part of God is better than another part of God, or like even saying like, I don't know, like peace is more important than friendship, which is, or like, you know, I mean peace, and or maybe like peace is more important than love, which you can't say because they're both like, you know, expressions, qualities of God. So it's like, it's all equal. So divine masculine and femininity are equal. And that's what, you know, I feel like we're really like healing in this world and healing in our collective. And Christina Fernandez shared something really interesting in our Church of Union Open Forum yesterday about the Sunday service, and like how Shalia's like talking like huge, so much more than like in Tifa's classes, for example, because like she's, you know, the one who's really like desires to like, you know, this knowledge and to share that and lay the groundwork there, and also hear this like heavy energy that like femininity has when in like environments of religion. And that is really it, you know, if you look at the history of religion, like how they like put Mary Magdalene down as like a whore, or she doesn't even come up in the Bible in many places. And just like everything, how, you know, just like generally how women have been viewed and treated and everything, or like just completely left out in most cases. And that's, you know, really what the Church of Union and unionism is healing so much, because it brings union to every part, including this inequality between divine masculine and feminine, which is not really true, but we can still see in this world, and it just needs to be addressed and healed piece by piece.
I love that.
You
Yeah,
know,
it is
like,
healing. Go ahead.
you know, like it's not necessarily here like with the divine masculine and feminine that okay, they have to be the same, their own, unique in their own ways, and that's the beauty of it, because
Absolutely.
they complement each other. Like the I don't remember exactly how Shlia said, but the divine feminine wants to enjoy, and the divine masculine wants to.
Oh no, wait, the divine feminine wants to be enjoyed,
Yes, that's it.
and the divine masculine wants to like share himself and give himself to his
Yeah,
divine feminine.
exactly. Yeah, and I really enjoy that, because that's exactly how it is. I mean, I know for me, I always just want to just express myself, to just share myself, and it's always beautiful when I'm received. I just enjoy so much as a divine masculine, just being received there. And one of you can speak maybe from the other side how it feels.
Yeah, I definitely have this, like, you know, I was thinking like I just like I desire to be enjoyed. I mean, because, you know, like obviously like the divine feminine wants to express herself and give herself to you in ways, but well, if, you know, if I like think about like, you know, giving myself and expressing myself and being enjoyed, when I think about like being enjoyed, that definitely like just like lights my heart into just like this like feeling, this like warm fuzzy feeling of like it feels so good to like be enjoyed by my man. So I really resonated with that. It was really beautiful. And well, yeah, what I've noticed in my twin flame, he's even like, he always like, it's like he can't stop talking when he's around me. I'm just like, wow, okay, I choose to receive you. I really enjoy him like him sharing himself with me too. Like it's not as if, you know, like that's what the divine feminine is, like what you said now, like receiving the masculine, and in this receiving feels really good for us as divine feminines.
Yeah, I I like that, and you know, it's really nice that as a divine masculine, you know, to really share, and when you share that, maybe not a lot of it's not being seen, but it's very vulnerable in that sharing, because when the divine masculine is like really into that, it's like wants to be vulnerable, wants to actually share from this raw place to just be able to be received there. Because maybe like how you said about the divine feminines, that they were kind of left out of the history with the divine masculines. It was like, okay, they cannot really share that, they cannot be vulnerable there. So it was always this contrast between how they interact, and now we're actually healing that as well, like to be able to partner together, to be able to just really enjoy each other, like to enjoy the divine feminine and divine masculine both, to be there and not to have conflicts, not to have this separation that was just created in our consciousness. And I really love how Jeffrey take this to the next level, to really like heal this, to really clear. And it, as you said, Denisa, before, it starts with us piece by piece.
Absolutely. And you know what came up while you were talking? I was like thinking, especially with like, when you look at like, really radical feminists, or not so radical, just like at the feminist like scene, and the opinions they express. And so much is kind of coming from this like view of like women have been wronged and whatnot. But you know what you just shared, how like men kind of pushing women away. It's like, yes, these women got wrong, but it wasn't men's fault, and it was exactly just as hurtful for men to not have women around. It was for women to not receive their men. It was like there isn't like one out of these two that was like wronged, and the victim, and the other one was like the attacker. That's like absolutely not the case. And that's like, well, feminism these days, it's like kind of not really seeing, like putting the blame on the other gender basically, and making themselves the victim, which is not what is going on in truth. It's like we're all in the same boat basically.
Yeah, no one is a victim here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it really, it really depends on where we're coming from. Like if we're coming from a place of fear, then there's going to be imbalance because we're trying to control what God already created perfect. And so like something like masculine and feminine, like it's already happening naturally the way that God designed it. Like if we were just in flow with ourselves, being authentic to our true design, and we didn't have all these fears that took us away, we would naturally be in harmony with the masculine and feminine. There wouldn't be like this war for power and feeling like it's us versus them and all of that. So that's what's really cool about like Jeff and Shalia's work, is it's so like it goes right to the heart of the matter and resolves it at the core, so that because we don't have to create perfection, like we don't have to make things the way that they should be. It's just that when we resolve it within ourselves and we have peace there, we're no longer operating from a place of control and trying to make it something it's not. And so it's like really comforting. It's really like, it's so relieving to know that all of this stuff is already perfect. And yeah, it's like, it's the less effort we put into it of trying to control it and make it something different. And the more we just surrender to what is, the easier it is. And that's kind of what's going on with feminism, is it's like, there's a lot of fear at the core of that, a lot of hurt and wounds. And,
absolutely. And instead of, as you say, going to the core and healing that, people are like projecting it and attacking who they think is to blame for it.
Yeah.
And whereas we all know attack is not real, and attack is from the ego, it just like never works. And the satisfaction you think you're getting from it, you're never getting it, because ego cannot possibly satisfy you. Never gonna happen. Sorry, guys.
Ego just wants to suffer and be in pain. It'll move on to another upset right after that one.
Exactly. Even if, like as a feminist, you enslave all men living on this world, and you're the queen of everything, and you create a matriarchy and push patriarchy away, you're still not going to be happy, because it's based on control and fear, and rejecting a part of you, because your divine masculine is a part of you. They're not separate from you. And attacking them is attacking yourself.
And something that you said that I don't know if you paid attention, but you said guys. And it's just me here. And the thing here, and why I notice it now, because before I was a bit triggered when I was in a group with girls, and I always like I felt guided to say guys, and I was like, but there's only girls here. What's this? And as we talked before, it's because we already addressed him before her.
Oh.
Whoa.
That is so interesting. Thank you for pointing that out. That's amazing. I was always confused by this, like, because you address like guys, but you address it like to a group of people, no matter like what gender these people have. And but it's like that makes so much sense. Isn't that crazy how even like in modern language we still have like this like truth of like addressing men first being incorporated in these like kind of slang words.
Yeah.
Like dude. Calling people dude. Yeah.
Yo, dude. I don't know if I ever said that to a woman though.
I've said it many times.
Okay. Well done, Michaela.
I've gone through many phases in my life. I feel like the terminology changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or bro. Okay, we're getting off topic.
I mean, just like we're just making, we're just like illuminating the same topic from a different perspective.
It's true. It's true. That's really, yeah, because I know, Laurentia, you've mentioned like whenever you'd call us guys, you say, oh, I'm sorry, you're girls. But I was like not bothered by it. I was like, no big deal. So this makes sense. Like it's, yeah, like you have to go through the masculine to address the feminine.
Yeah. In a way, like for me, it was a little bit like weird because even like as I'm not a native English speaker, I was a little bit like I just feel to say this. This is so normal to say from this in this language, and I'm like, but I cannot stop myself. But in the same time, these are girls; they're not guys. But now with all this understanding, it just makes so much more sense. Why is that? Why that it comes so easily to say rather than actually coming to say like girls. Yeah. That's it.
Oh yeah, I really love that this came up. My entire understanding of the English language has changed. Something that I also just came up for me. I remember I had a course at university where we were talking about kind of language and society. And one class we had like on, like how like gender and language and how like, for example, like in most cases you say when you have like a brother and a sister, you would say my brother and sister, you wouldn't say my sister and brother. And there's like these kind of orders where like, kind of phrases where when you address the masculine and feminine, you always put like the masculine first for some reason. Like even with, when you address a couple, it would be Mr. and Mrs. No one would say Mrs. and Mr. And it's like, we do that without even thinking because it's so ingrained in how we speak. And, like from like in my like at university, like linguists interpreted that as like, obviously, like putting, like patriarchal stuff and like women not being seen as so important as men. But that's like, as we're talking about right now, is again, not what is going on. It's again, this like approaching the masculine first, putting the masculine first, and then the feminine, and out of respecting that. But what's interesting? I think the only exception to that would be if you address like an audience, you would always say ladies and gentlemen.
That's a more modern thing. I don't know where that came from, so we don't know exactly. Maybe that came from that perspective, or I don't know.
Maybe.
Or the whole ladies first thing.
Oh yeah, that is true. That could make sense. And yeah. Mm-hmm. Be a gentleman.
Well, that's also a form of respect, though, is like like opening doors for women and
ladies first.
That, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I still do that. It's not out of the question.
That's nice.
It still feels good, so it doesn't. It's not something that now it has to be in a certain way. It's just like how it is.
Yeah.
I live in the South, and so it happens all the time here. It's like how women hold doors open for everybody. I mean, like, everybody does it. So.
Now, since you're like the only divine masculine here in our round of guys, and kind of, I always like ask myself, like, how does it feel for you? Like even like stuff like holding doors open and like kind of, I guess protecting your women and like doing things like that, like for your women. How does that like feel for you?
Well, it feels very good. It feels empowering. It feels like I know. It just feels like very loving and just empowering. I feel more masculine doing that. So I just feel like, oh yes, I am happy. I know it's just something in me just makes me feel so good just doing that. It's it's just natural and just comes like as a guidance for me to do. So it makes me happy to do that. That's the truth. If it doesn't, I have an upset. So it's always about getting clear about that within myself. But it always makes me feel good to do something like that, or to do something for her. Like, let's say, like, to buy her flowers, because I do that often. I I go and do that, and I can like to open doors to other stuff. To it just feels good. It just feels very good, and but of course, like it's safe to receive even for me, because maybe for divine masculine, it's kind of sometimes, at least for me, it was a bit hard to receive from a divine feminine. It's safe to receive as well, and that's not to not exclude myself from that, because without receiving, how can I give? And that's another thing. So it feels good to give, and it feels good to receive, and I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's like, I am starting to really understand the divine masculine more. This is nice. Yeah, you know, for me as a woman, I think I'm a bit working through this, like, you know, when like my twin flame house doors open for me, and I really enjoy it, but there's like this part of me that kind of feels guilty for it.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. Like, and there's like there's just I don't know, it's not even just holding doors, it's just little things. Like I can't there's like all kinds of cultural things where, yeah, as women we're treated differently, and there's kind of this part of like, I don't know, I guess I kind of like project and wonder, like, are they like kind of resenting us a little bit?
I think that's why I like ask now, because I feel like, you know, this question was like, are they doing that just because they know they have to do it? Or are they doing it because they really want to do it?
No, it's not because of that. I mean, some maybe try to force it, but let's say from the when I was younger, maybe I was like, oh, that's what you should do. But after I tried to do it, maybe the first times I was like, I don't know what to say. But then I started to feel good doing it. Maybe at the beginning I was a bit numb to it, but once I did it, it actually made me empowered me. To be honest, that's the feeling that I can better describe it, because that's how we're supposed to be. And it's not to expect something or how it is. And of course, like if I have my hands full, I cannot open a door, and it's okay if she opens the door, that's not the problem. It's not to become now like just the man opens the door. No, but there are these cases that it's really nice when this happen, or like do something for Alexandra, let's say, and then she's just appreciating, and
yeah. Oh, sorry, please finish.
and it's all these small things that sorry I said it's really like important, but for this it's what you are saying, sorry, or like, are they resenting us, No, it's more like we like, from my point of masculine, like I want to know how to treat my woman, and for that I I need my woman to, and the word is, I believe, entice me, like kind of like help me understand how to give to her, how does she likes to receive that, and how to like just give there, how to share myself there. That's something as well. And it's not to be all like he, like not for you to stay in a corner, oh, he doesn't know that I want this thing that I think, and I keep thinking about no, kind of like letting him know, or like helping the masculine understand what it is. Because even like for me and Alexandra, even twin flames, we cannot read everything in our mind, like please buy this.
I really I'm really disappointed. I thought you guys were doing that.
Oh man, that's what I signed up for. That's why I'm here.
I think I'm like, I'm out.
So we still have moments that we know, like we have these moments that, oh, I just feel to get this, and of course she likes that. But there are some practical stuff. We live in this practical world, in like that we it's safe to communicate with each other. It's safe to really like get clear, even through voice, not just through like, buy me ice cream, buy me ice cream, things like that.
Yeah.
And
that is funny.
yeah, it's here just to, like, from my perspective, to not be expected to do something that maybe from a masculine it kind of feels bad. And of course I had to go through this healing with Alexandra, because in a way at the beginning of relationship she was maybe expecting some things from me that was like, how should I know all of these? And of course I have to learn there and I have to grow there, and of course we grow together there as we open ourselves up.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you're sharing all of this, like just
Mhm.
listening to you, like share like your perspective from the divine masculine side of things is very healing.
Yeah,
So
it is, because there is that thought where you're like, where it's almost like you imagine this resentment, because like as a feminine energy, like we all naturally desire like that, to be like, I don't even know what it would be called, but like to be given to. And so it's like there's like that thought in consciousness that says it's not okay to desire that from your man, but like it is. And it's not like you're just giving or being given to and you don't give anything back. Like receiving is giving. And also like, yeah, like Laurentiu said, like I think Jeff and Shalia have said in classes or somewhere that if your man has a block to giving, then the feminine can help him clear that by encouraging him to give and encouraging him to love. Yeah,
that is beautiful.
and then they say that if the feminine has blocks to loving or to receiving love, then the masculine can help her by loving her. I think that's actually in the book, but it just it just reminded me of all that.
Thank you for bringing that up. And like this like block that we kind of mentioned a bit, like feeling is like guilt when the divine masculine gives for you. I kind of, while you were talking, I just like, like thought about it, and I was like, I think for me it would be like I'm upset because I don't believe that someone can enjoy giving to me. So it goes back to what Shalia meant, like this upset of like, I can't believe that like someone can like enjoy me. So I can't believe that I choose to enjoy myself. I mean, in the way of like not enjoy myself, but enjoy myself.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I think it is like a receiving block of like, because I think about my twin flame, and whenever he does those things for me, he's not doing it unconsciously. Like he's like really loving me through what he's doing, and I can feel that. And I think that like there's like this like not trusting that love is real and that's genuine. And so I think that's what this is kind of showing me is like, there's like a little like not trusting that's like real love that's being expressed, and it's not just someone's doing it because they have to kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a really like interesting conversation, because this is something that like we've all experienced. Like no matter what culture we come from, it might look different, but there's kind of like this, it's like we're healing this idea of like it's us versus them, masculine versus feminine, and seeing how we're actually partnering together. So yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they said in the sermon yesterday, is that the dualistic nature of masculine and feminine is not like, they're not separate at all. They work together as one.
Absolutely. That feels like a good wrap up of everything we talked about today. So this was for me, a very healing discussion we had today. And I feel like when I will rewatch the sermon again from yesterday, I feel like I'm going to understand it even so much more than I did before. So thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
And having this
very
discussion. Much. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, talking about a new juicy sermon coming out next Sunday. That is it. Bye-bye.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.